No RPE. Hi everyone, welcome back. Out on my long run today. I got a plan, 28k, about that. It's on a timer, so 3 hours I'm aiming for. I didn't get up too early this morning. I tried hard. Alarm went off at 6, but I didn't get out up till 7. It's just really hard to get up in the morning at the moment. It's so dark. Anyway, I'm out and about, so that's good. So, I'm going to talk about RPE and what that means. Kind of give you some examples of different levels of it, how I feel, what I think about it, and why it's so important to us runners, but also cyclists and walkers, everyone really. You know, we all have different ideas about it, different feelings. It's very subjective, but the good thing is once you kind of suss it out, you can really use it to your advantage when you're setting up your training plans, you know, getting a feel for it. So anyway, what is RPE? RPE is rate of perceived exertion. So that's rate of perceived exertion. So basically the rate at which, when you exert, how you feel. And there's a guy called Borg years ago who came up with this scale, the Borg scale, 6 to 20. 6 being completely sedentary, sitting on the sofa doing nothing, and then 20 is maximal, going as hard as you possibly can. That would be like a 100-meter sprint, a Usain Bolt style. So, why is it important, you ask? Well, it's really important because when I'm running and I want to do a workout or I want to do an activity and I want to plan that, it's firstly good to know sort of what exertion, what level of intensity I want it to be. It's good for coaches. They can set a workout for me. So say for example I'm doing an interval workout for VO2 max. You're going to be wanting to do say 10 1-minute intervals with a 2-minute rest perhaps, at that 1 minute RPE of 8 or 9 even. And that basically sets up the precedent where my coach doesn't have to worry about my pace all the time. Just about, you've got to do that activity at your idea of that number 9. Okay, it just makes things a lot easier. When you're doing periodized training, intervals, threshold training, easy runs, cruising intervals, all these sorts of names, you can get a really nice feel for what you need to do before you turn up, knowing what RPE it needs to be set at. So a good example, another example would be this long run is set at an RPE 5 at the beginning for say 10 minutes just to warm up, and then move on up for say if it's a 2-hour run plus a warm up. So you've got a warm up and a cool down at 5, and then you want to run at about 6. Now obviously when you're on a trail run you can't keep at 6, you know, there's going to be flexibility. You've got ups and downs, you've got hills, you've got all sorts, so you know, you've got to sort of maintain that. But what you're kind of setting yourself up as a precedent for that run is you're saying, I'm going to keep it at a nice 6. Scale of 1 to 10. So where does kind of everything set on that scale, I guess? 1 obviously being sitting on the sofa doing nothing. 2 to 3 is going to be walking around, strolling, nothing too arduous at all. I'd have said getting up to a 5, you're going to want a light jog, conversational pace. You can hear me puffing now at the moment, so I've just been climbing up a hill, so that's certainly not a 5. I don't feel like a 5 at the moment, but I'll get my breath back. And then when you've you know, your jogs and you want to just put a little bit more effort on, turn on the gas a bit, it gets to about a 6. So my warm-ups are at about 5 and cool downs at a 5, sometimes even a 4. A 4 would be really easy jog, small steps, very relaxed, and then we move on up to a 6 where you, as I said, you've turned it on a bit of power, you're feeling energized, and then moving up the scale you're looking for that sort of tempo threshold kind of work. So you're looking at 6 to 7 of your sort of steady state, this kind of grey area of running everyone talks about. And then the next step, 7 to 8, is your threshold. 8 I'd say is your threshold running, possibly a 9, but your 8 you can hold, for me, an hour being my 10k pace. 10k pace being obviously faster than your marathon pace, so your marathon pace is probably going to be about 7. And then 8 to 9, 9 is full on, that's climbing hills, it's really pushing hard, it's almost a sprint, it is a sprint really. And then 10 is just absolutely guts out, full on power, you know, as hard as you possibly can go, whether that's up a hill or whether that's on a flat, but that is a full tilt. And I rarely ever go 10 because I'm worried about pulling a muscle. A good example is climbing a hill. This is a pitch hill, short steep incline, rooty, horrible, slippery, beautiful in the summer. I'll climb this now, and at the moment I'm at 6. Legs are starting to burn already. Probably get to a 7. Up to an 8. I'm gonna push hard now. Feeling a little bit sick. Keep going. Lactic acid, or lactate, building up my legs. Probably a 9, probably a 10. That's 10. Then is really very personalised. Oh, massive puddle. RPE is very personalised, okay? Your RPE is very different to my RPE, and that's really important to note. So it's difficult if you're training with a group of friends or just another person, because their speed is going to be very different, their intensity is going to be very different to yours. So you've got to be careful there if you're training with other people, and a set RPE is safe for the workout. You've got 6x400s, and the 400s needs to be done at 8 RPE. You'll be doing them at a very different perceived rate to the other person, unless obviously you train with them a lot and you're used to each other and you have a similar fitness. So we can all benefit from using the RPE scale. You know, it's really important. And as I said, for my type of training, you know, you're always being set that kind of goal and the workout, because every workout counts. You know, we've got the race coming up in 7 weeks now. You know, time is ticking. Before I know it, it could be 6 and 5 then 4. So each workout I'm doing is really important. You need to get the best out of it as well. So going downhill is a funny one because it's a different load, or biomechanical load on the body. You're actually putting a lot more stress on your legs, although your cardiovascular system is being less challenged. The stress on your quads and your knees is really intense. That's why when you get ultra runners and you hear that they've blown out their quads, you know, some of these mountain downhills are 10 kilometers, you know, 12, 13 kilometers long. The climbs are equally as lengthy. So it's strange when you're going downhill, you think, oh, that's going to be the easy part, but it isn't, because you've got to firstly concentrate on your footing, really concentrate on not falling over and injuring yourself, and then the stress on your legs is kind of a hidden, in a way. I mean, you'll feel the burn after a certain amount of time for sure, and they'll just get battered. But at the moment I'm going down a hill, you know, I'm moving pretty fast for sure, much faster than if I was going up a hill. I'm chatting away quite happily, so my RPE is probably only sitting at 5. I'm actually quite relaxed, and you can use the gravity moving yourself down. So be warned on the RPE on downhill, especially if you're going to do a long race and we've got some serious hills, you know, serious downhills, is you want to make sure that you really don't overdo it, even though you're feeling good. RPE is not all about speed either. Listen to me, I'm really out of breath, my calf muscles are burning, I'm walking up a super steep hill. I've tried to run it, but it's too steep. It's got to be a 9 RPE, eh? Seven RPE! 10 RPE. I've got to go back up there again now. So there you go. It's a few of the RPE ratings. I think by now you should have a good idea of what it looks like. Feeling wise, quite often, like now, I'm totally out of breath. So when you're running, you can kind of gauge your RPE onto sort of how hard you're breathing. So jogging, conversational pace, well, walking to jogging, conversational pace, nice and easy, out with friends, no problem at all. Pick up 6 to 7, maybe do a sentence or two, but breathe in between, you know, you're feeling it. 8 or 9, like I am now at the moment, I'm absolutely puffed. That's a 9 and 10. You can't, 10 you can't talk at all. So 8, you challenge maybe 3 or 4 words, that's about it. So you can always gauge your RPE by the way you breathe as well. So there's plenty of ways to get a good gauge of it. All right, gonna crack on. Coming to the end of my long run. 3 hours it's been. Probably finish up at about 28k. So good. I mean, a couple of things to finish off with about RPE. It's definitely, as your run gets longer and you get more tired, therefore your perceived exertion, you know, now I'm running a very easy jog, but I'm puffing away. I'm probably up to about a 7 at the moment, so don't get confused. I think I've said earlier anyway about pace and power and exertion. You know, it differentiates all the time. But it segues quite nicely onto this kind of chat about training load and how important that is. How important it is when we're looking at our overall kind of weekly schedule, our monthly plan, building up to races. Training load is essential, and overdoing it, in fact I might walk, overdoing it or underdoing it is so important. I use Training Peaks, as you know, and that has TSS, training stress score, and there's other which I'll talk about in my next kind of vlog about training load. But it's really important to understand that RPE is very much linked to that, because you don't want to be overdoing it and then getting injured, and you don't want to be underdoing it and not getting fit enough or fast enough and so therefore when it comes to race day, you know, you're not performing to your full potential. So, you know, knowing you're using your subjective kind of feeling, your personal feeling of where you are with the training, sorry, where you are with the RPE. God, my eyes are, tears are coming down my eyes, not because I'm crying. Wow, yeah, so I'm gonna cut that. That's what happens after a 3-hour run, you start falling apart. So back to training load. So that's what's so important about knowing your RPE. So what you can start doing is, the more you get used to the levels, so I know what my 7 is, I know naturally what my 8 is, I just know now. I've been doing it for so many years. So when I come to do a workout and it's an 8 RPE workout, I know what I've got to do and what sort of pace I hit at. And quite often, unless I'm, and obviously I'm getting fitter all the time, but quite often I hit that kind of mark. So I'm going to go back to the cabin now and just finish off my little chat. I've got a little chart to show you, and yeah, let's see you back in the cabin. Oh, it's chilly. Back in the cabin now. Done my long run, went really well, just over 3 hours, about 17-18 miles. It's on Strava if you want to take a look. But it's a nice, tough run, nice bit of elevation as well, so really enjoyed it. Anyway, hopefully you sort of understand a lot more about RPE and how important it is. I really do believe in that's the way I train. So if you can sort of you know, understand your body and how you feel and sort of apply that to some of your workouts and some of your training plans, I reckon that will really help you out. But I've done the scale here just to recap. Borg changed it, obviously got bored of the 6 to 20 and went from 1 to 10, just makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? 1 being no exertion, you know, lying on the sofa, chilling out, all the way up to number 10, which is maximal 100-meter sprint and more, you know, as hard as you possibly can. And then you've got the in-betweens, obviously you've got walking paces. I mean, we power hike, so that could be, you know, quite high up here if you really push it hard on hills. You've got kind of this area here, which is a light jog, you know, where you can just chat conversationally, just relax. And then you have these sort of build up the pace, sort of get right into it. You get the steady state, you got the threshold, the VO2, you know, it just goes from hard, extremely hard, 8 to 10. That is the RPE scale. So hopefully, yeah, that's a pretty long description about it all. So if you watched it to the end, fantastic. Thanks so much for subscribing. That's enough from me, and hopefully see you in the next video. You take care, enjoy your running.